Hey guys, if you're watching this means that the video you're about to watch is, controversial in its content or possibly triggering in its content. So this is just a general trigger warning so that I don't have to keep filming them after every video because I always forget. But please, just proceed with caution. That's all this is. Thank you for watching and love you. On today of all days though, I mean really, hey everyone, I was gonna make a political video today, and it's still gonna be political, but something else happened that was related, so I'm gonna kind of loop those two issues together. So I just recently discovered a YouTuber by the name of Emma Blackery, and I haven't really watched too much of her stuff because most of it's like story times and stuff like that, and that's the kind of stuff I like to watch when I just want to zone out. But I just kind of watch so much YouTube that I just never really got around to watching her stuff, I guess. And if you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge Paramore fan. And so I follow this Paramore account on Twitter who really hates Emma Blackery, and I couldn't figure out why. Until today. So I'm gonna put the tweets up, I guess, like right here, so I'll just stand to the side here, and then, we can evaluate the tweets together. So today, Emma Blackery retweeted somebody asking, how to get through depression. I don't know how this conversation started. I didn't do the research into that. It doesn't really matter. She said, "You don't get a choice. Make it easier on yourself and get professional help. Stop sitting around wishing it would go away." That's my tweet at the top there. What about when professional help doesn't get help and you've tried everything else? You're not trying if you've given up. If one doctor won't help, find another. Demand it for yourself. I don't know who Dodie is. I'm gonna try really hard to keep it civil in this video. If someone doesn't care, make a fuss until they have no choice. You owe it to yourself to get a good life. Go around the parents. Oh, I support you, but this is low-key disappointing considering that some people's parents deny them treatment. Yikes. Go around the parents. You don't need a parent's permission to see a doctor or a school counselor. By the way, I should have mentioned this before I started reading. These are the replies under the tweet. So this is what people are saying back to her and her replying to those people, if you don't know how Twitter works. Anyway. Go around the parents, you don't need, I think I read that. Actually, in some cases you do. I had to get permission from my parents to seek treatment. Where the hell do you live where someone won't treat mental health without a parent's permission? America. Hi, it me. America. Mental health is not taken seriously here, and that's a fact. Trust me, I wish it was that easy for everyone, but it's not. To be fair, I am in England and still needed permission. That is truly awful. I have never heard of that being the case. Did you use whatever that? I don't know what that is. I live in England. I'm in America, where I can't get health care. Ooh, breathe. I have a counselor who's making me feel guilty over my depression. I can't seek medical help because I can't drive yet. Tell your counselor how they're making you feel and tell them they're supposed to be helping. Demand that they help you. Stand at desks until you get an appointment. Don't leave the doctor's office until you have received what you need. Okay, so I need to go off now. I'm going to title this with Emma Blackery's name in hopes that it gets around, in hopes that people see this, and hope that she sees it at some point. So I'm going to pretend as if she's watching this video right now. So I'm especially going to try to be civil. Do you know what Trump is planning to do? He's planning to sign an executive order on religious freedom. Do you know what that means? That means that ambulances, that means that hospitals, nurses, healthcare clinics, mental health clinics, they can all deny me healthcare for being transgender. That will be totally 100% legal. That's not all. Guess what's happening today? Oh, Congress is voting to repeal Obamacare. Repeal pre-existing conditions, which means because I have anxiety, because I have asthma, because I am transgender, because of basically anything. Have I had a cold before? I have to pay more for my health care. I can be denied. This isn't even what I want to talk about. I'm going to pull up the receipts that I took because I had a feeling that this might blow up and she might end up deleting the tweets, but I don't know. I want to address this particular comment. Demand that they help you. Demand it. Stand at desks until you get an appointment. Don't leave the doctor's office until you have received what you need. I want to make a point here. Do you know what people who are suffering from depression are suffering with? They cannot find the will to live anymore. They cannot find the will to get out of bed in the morning. They cannot find motivation to even bathe. But you're telling me that I should go down to my doctor's office and say, I can't find the will to live anymore, but I'm going to sit right here and find the will to demand you to give me decent health care. And then all my problems are supposed to be solved. Okay, now say I'm a black man or a black woman, and I go down there and I do the same thing. You know what can happen to me? Death. They can call the cops on me, and it doesn't matter if I comply 100%. They can shoot me dead and get the fuck away with it because this is America, Emma. England isn't the only country in the world. I'm sorry to break it to you. England isn't the only, rules in England don't apply to everywhere. Sorry to break it to you. And the rules that apply to white people don't apply to everyone across the board. Sorry to break it to you. It's called white privilege. It's called cis privilege. It's called being in a country that has national health care. I don't live in one of those. Sorry to break it to you. Not everyone does. I do not mean to come off aggressively. I really, really don't. Do you know... Okay, let me breathe for a second. Do you know what happened the first time I went to therapy? I was maybe 11, 12, maybe 13. I wasn't out of the closet yet. I didn't know I was transgender. I was still believing that I was gay, and I wasn't out to my parents. I wasn't really... I was out to my friends and stuff, but I wasn't out to my parents. So I tell my dad that I just want to die and I don't know why. So he says, let's go to therapy. I said, okay, cool. Already hesitant about therapy because there's a stigma. And then the therapist says, you know, let's have your dad sit in on the first session because, you know, it might make it easier on you. We get a couple questions in, and you know what she asked me? Are you gay? And I know anyone with experience within the LGBT community just flinched right now. Because, look, this isn't about whether or not my dad supports gay people. Obviously, my dad was a great guy and would never, ever do anything like kick me out for being gay. But I just watched a video the other day that's from like 2015 when two parents beat their own child for being gay after telling him that he has to move out because he can no longer live in this house. So my first impression with therapy was a total rejection of who I am because I wasn't ready and my therapist pressured me. So that was the mental health care that I paid for. And then for the next 10 years, I refused to go back to therapy because that was my association. That therapists don't fucking get it. They'd rather, you know, put me in danger potentially than really try to assess what's wrong with me. But besides that point, I'm like literally shaking right now. See, the thing about depression is that It means that you don't want to fucking do anything because you don't even want to exist anymore. So, even if I were to say, you know, it's only a matter of making sure I work enough so that I can pay for my insurance that might end up covering my mental health care. Do you know how hard it is some days, as a reminder, to get out of bed? Because I have depression, and it's hard for me to get out of bed some days. It's hard for me to remember why I even want to live anymore. And in America, I have to work my fucking ass off. Everyone in America, unless you're the 1%, has to work their ass off and more just to make ends meet. And you wonder why we have a mental health crisis in America. We're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still being broke at the end of the month after rent, after paying for food, after having to pay for health insurance because we don't have a national health care system. We don't have the government paying for a health care or guaranteeing the right to health care if we need it. We don't get that privilege in America. And people die every fucking day because of it. And people commit suicide every fucking day because they can't afford mental health care. Because there's a stigma around it. Because their parents won't let them. Because they can't afford the drive to get to the good therapist that actually does good treatment. Because the good therapist won't treat you because there's some fucking weird law that I can't even imagine. For a white cisgender person who lives in a country with a national healthcare system to come at people with depression saying, stop sitting around and hoping for it to get better. Some of us, that is quite literally all we have when it comes to mental health care. And even in Canada, it's not perfect. So before you get on your high horse with your fucking dumb statements, ignorant statements that affect other people, you have an audience, please, for the love of God, think before you speak. Because it matters. So, that was my fucking rant. And for anyone out there who's depressed, I'm so fucking proud of you for still being here. And I love you. And you matter. And just because you can't get help doesn't mean that you're just sitting around hoping for it to get better because you're too lazy to get help or some bullshit like that. Because that's exactly what she's fucking implying. And I'm not here for that, okay? I don't fucking appreciate that. We have a hard enough time wanting to live. We don't need privileged people like you telling us how to handle our fucking problems. So, I hope you get your shit together sometime. Thanks. This is just an add-on, because as I was making this video, I got a notification that the House just passed the Obamacare replacement bill. So the likelihood that we're all going to lose health insurance and coverage through everything because of pre-existing conditions is pretty likely. So millions of people are going to die. So, again, to reiterate, think before you speak. All it takes is a couple Googles. That's all you had to do.